Now let's look into the more examples. So now we will do some examples using environment variables. So working with your Jenkins files, the following. So, so how can we add environment variables inside the Jenkins file? So using environment variables, Jenkins pipeline exposes environment variables via the global variable called env, which is a variable from anywhere within a Jenkins file. So the full list of environment variables which are accessible from within Jenkins pipeline is uh, documented. So basically you can get it from a variable called your Jenkins URL. So but here we will see some of the environment variables. The first one is build ID. So we have discussed about this in our previous slides, in our previous sessions. So here, so a build ID is gives the current build ID. It could be 1 2 3, these kind of numbers. And build number, so the current build number such as 153. And build tag, strings of Jenkins. Build tag is a string of Jenkins. So job name, build number, so all together can be attached as a build tag. So convenient to put into a resource file, a jar file, etc., for easier identification. Then build URL, so the URL where the results of the build can be found. And executor number, so the unique number that identifies the current executor among executors of the same machine, so performing this build. So this is the number you see in the build executor status, either 0 or 1. So basically, except that the number starts from 0, not 1. Okay, so build executor status, uh, except that the number starts from 0, not 1. Okay, if the number starts from 0, then that means it's a build executor status. If it is starts from 1, it's something else. Then we have Java home. If your job is configured to use a specific Java development kit, this variable is set to the Java home of the specified JDK. So when this variable is set, path is also updated to include the bin subdirectory of Java home. Then Jenkins URL, so full URL of Jenkins, as you will get it. And then job name, so name of the project of this build. So whatever the project name that you have given, that will be fetched. And node name, so the name of the node the current build is running on. So set to master for the Jenkins controller. if it is if you have a master slave concept, if you have plenty of nodes, then we can go for the this kind of concept. So we can set to master for the Jenkins controller. So then we have workspace. When you give the workspace as a environment variable, the absolute path of the workspace will be fetched. So now, setting environment variable, let's take this example. So in this example, so the pipeline, there is one sample pipeline. And in that, the first pipeline directive, after that you have an environment directive. What does it mean? An environment directive, here an environment directive used in the top level pipeline block will apply to all steps within the pipeline. That's what an environment directive. Then after that you have a one more environment directive which is nested. So this, an environment directive defined within a stage, will only apply the given environment variables to steps within the stage. So if it is at a higher level, at a top level, then it will be applied across the pipeline. If it is inside the stages, inside a particular stage, then the environment variables steps, like it would be applied only to that certain stage. So let's look into one example here. Not one, three examples we will do, so that we'll get more clarity in this section. Okay, so Jenkins. All are about Jenkins environment variables only. So we will do three exercises. One is uh, using pipeline script from the Jenkins, and another one is using Jenkins file using SCM. So, and last one is also using SCM. So we will do the three examples. Okay, let's begin. Get let's Let me get into Jenkins and write my first item. So I would name this as a Jenkins Paas, and this is environment where exercise 1. And as usual, I will go with the pipeline, not the free project, and click OK. And this is environment variable project, that is exercise 1. So let me scroll down a bit. Rest all will keep it same by default stuff. We don't touch it. Here I'm going to use pipeline script. I am not going to use pipeline script from SCM. Other two exercises we will do with using pipeline script from SCM. So here I will write the script. So pipeline directive is our first one. So we have opened the pipeline block, and inside the pipeline block, whatever stages you would like to have, you can attach. So before that, we will add agent directive. Agent any is absolutely fine. Then let's add a stages directive, and then stages block has been opened, and inside the stages block I will attach my first stage, that is stage, and then name is environment variable example. I would say n var example stage. So this is what the stage I provided, and I will open this stage block. Inside that I would say echo and running environment variable, that is build id, environment variable build id. So protection, variable protection in shell, then it is build and id, and let's say on. So one more. So we are running this build id on this Jenkins URL, and I would provide that URL, that is, and protection, variable protection, and dot Jenkins underscore URL, and close the protection. That's it. So this is enough to write our first environment variable related pipeline, and let me save it and let me execute now. So build scheduled and wait for the output. We got the negative output, so error. So let me get into the console output and see. So what is the issue? So stage, so expected one of steps, stages or parallel for stage and variable example. So the problem could be here. So let me get into the uh, code and configure, and let me directly look into the okay stages. and after that we should attach steps, but we missed it. So let me type step. Okay, steps, and let me cut it, steps, and yeah, now let me attach it, but before that I have to bring it to the equivalent to the stage. Yeah, yes, rest all fine. mm, Pipeline, stages, stage, and steps. Now let me save this and build now. It should work. Yes, it had worked. So stage and variable example, this is the stage, and it's been built. The pipeline, one stage pipeline has been built. So let us look into the console now. Console output, we can see the console output. So what's the console output? Running environment variable build id is 2, and on this Jenkins URL at this location it is running. You see that same URL, 13 235 51 153 80 80, at this URL it's running. So let me get back to the uh, pipeline configuration and add one more thing inside the piece of code. So running environment variable build id is this much on this Jenkins URL. So save it and rerun it and see. So third one is also been built, and you can see that third build ID and 105 seconds. So let's look into the console of this console output, and you can see that a running environment variable build id is 3 on this Jenkins URL. Exactly on this Jenkins URLs your build has been built. So that's what it's saying with the build id number, build id 3. So now let's do a bit complicated example at this moment. So for that I will get back to the dashboard here, and I will go to the my GitHub. So I will go to my, I'll click on your repositories, and then inside that I will select Jenkins Paas and where exercise, and I have already written this Jenkins file. So this Jenkins file is setting, okay, let me scroll down. Yeah, setting an environment variable within a Jenkins pipeline is accomplished differently depending on whether a declarative or a scripted pipeline is used. So here it is a declarative pipeline, and a declarative pipeline supports an environment directive. So that's the reason we will use a environment. So this is as it is a declarative pipeline, so we use a environment here, and then we can run. So environment directive, whereas the scripted pipeline must be used with use the with env. So okay, so now let's so we have used the environment directive, and we have attached cc clang, and again we have inside we used environment directive, and we said debug flags option G, and we want to print env. So everything all together. Okay, so now let me get back to the repository and copy the URL of the repository, and so now it's time to build our pipeline. So click on new item, and this is Jenkins pass exercise 1. I'd say exercise next. Okay, Jenkins exercise 2, but this time it's using SCM. So I'll click on pipeline and click on OK. Same Jenkins pass and environment variable with SCM. Then directly scroll down and here select pipeline script from SCM and select Git as an SCM and paste a URL here, and credentials are not required. I'm going with the public repository and branch is main, and script path is same. So save it and why to wait, just build it. So build scheduled, so the build has been started. So let's wait for a few minutes. So again, some or other way problem will get it. Console output. And what is that issue? So unable to find Jenkins file from Git. Jenkins file from Git. It did not find that. Okay, let me copy this and get back to the Jenkins file. Use it. Oh, that's my mistake. Let me change this. Change the name of the file. Click on here. So I'll remove this. So that's what happens if you don't mention the name of the file properly. It should be Jenkins file with the capital J and Jenkins file. That's it. You should not do any other mistake at all. And again, commit the changes. So renamed Jenkins files to Jenkins file and commit changes. So it's done. Let me rerun the job again. Same job, rerun it. Yes, this time no problem. That's what we have to be very careful when writing the file names. So the first stage in this is declarative checkout SCM. It's been done. Then we have written the example. So that's what the stage name I have given. So and we'll change that. But now let's check console output, what we have got there. This is as usual. It's fetching. Then stage with env, and then stage is the example name, then sh has come into the picture, then it says shell and print env. So then you got all the environment variables whatever that we have discussed so far, and there are more to that. Even cc capital CC clang, that is also been brought into that. And you see there are different types of variables, but we'll come to this. Before that, we will do some changes inside our Jenkins file and we will save it. So stage name I would write stage env var all, and I will commit the changes. Changing the stage name and committing it. So commit changes now. So changes has been committed. So let's get back to the Jenkins and rerun the same pipeline. So the third pipeline has been run, but this time the stage name is stage env var all. So now let's get into the console output, and we'll see each and every environment variable that we have used there. So all user, as usual, user is Jenkins, and git, you see that first one is Jenkins home. You can find that Jenkins home is where lab Jenkins, and after that you have git previous successful commit. It has given, when you give git previous successful commit, this is the latest commit that we have used. That's we have updated the stage name. Then user, who's the user? Jenkins is the user. Then CI is true. Then run change display URL. This is what the URL, where this is where our Jenkins server is running. Then node labels built in Hudson URL. This is basically Hudson has come from Jenkins has come from Hudson, but still we call it as a Jenkins. That's a historical fact. Then you have a git commit, one more git commit. Then home. This is a home directory of Jenkins. That's a home. And then build URL, you can find the build URL specific to this build. You see that this is the URL of Jenkins, and after that inside that you will have a job Jenkins Paas and variable exercise 2 and SCM3. From there we got it. And Jenkins server cookie notify socket, log name is Jenkins, node name is built in, and there are more. Stage name is this, anyway stage name we know. Executor number, it's 0, we have discussed in our slide. I think it's still there. Yeah. See, build ID. These are all executor number we have seen. Just now we have seen. And we'll see more. And invocation ID, build ID. You see that? Build ID we have seen. Build tag. As we have discussed about the build tag. So Jenkins pass and variable exercise 2 and then SCM3. So that's how it has attached. It has attached the name of the project with the build ID. So then you will get the build tag. That's what we have said here. If you remember, build tag string of job name and attached with the build number after hyphen. So then shell, we have used a shell, that is bin bash. Run display URL, so this is where it runs. Hudson server job display URL, job name is this, and pwd, that's a present working directory is this, and git previous commit is this, and debug flags. So and finally you got clang. So that's how it works. So let me build one more time before we wrapping up this environment variable section. And let's run it one more time and check what's going to happen. So the fourth build ID, it's successful even with the fourth one. So this is how you can fetch the environment variable, you can print the environment variable, you can use the environment variable inside your Jenkins files.